This is College Hockey Southwest Weekly, your source for college hockey in the Desert Southwest, part of the IcetimeHockeySW.com family. College Hockey Southwest Weekly is presented by College Bar and Grill, 502 South College Avenue in Tempe, and online at ilovecollege.co. Now, here are your hosts, Scott Strandy, and I'm Tom Callahan.
Welcome in to another episode of College Hockey Southwest Weekly. I'm your host, Scott Strandy. As you can see, my co-host, Tom Callahan, is out on assignment for us, folks. We sent him up to the Pacific Northwest to do a little work for us. So we're missing Tom, but we know he'll be back, and we know he'll be back bringing some great news and great feature stories for us. So I'm going solo, folks, and it's exciting, right? It's getting down to the nitty-gritty here. We're 19-10-1 for the Arizona State Sun Devils. 4 games remaining, including a weekend series against AIC coming up next weekend following this bye week. And then there's a bye week, and then they're off to Minnesota to wrap things up for the regular season. 19-10-1, folks. I say the magic number is 3. You get 3 more wins, and this team is continuing their historic run of getting into the NCAA Hockey Tournament. I've had a couple of great guests today. I had the opportunity to visit with one of the senior administrators here at ASU and in charge of the hockey program, Frank Ferrara, has joined me. And Frank is just a big hockey fan and a big supporter here at ASU, and it was great to have Frank on and visiting with him. I also had a chance to visit with defenseman Jacob Wilson, and Jacob had a great perspective on not only the Sun Devil season, but playing in different rinks and the upcoming run at the NCAA Tournament. So I want to thank Jacob Wilson for jumping in with me too. We had a great time talking hockey here at Oceanside Ice Arena, and just a minute to go, I'm going to go ahead and jump in and let you know that the Sun Devils are poised right now with a pairwise ranking of number 8 in the country. The polls, USCHO, I believe, has them at number 12 right now. All good things at this point, but we got to keep winning. We need 3 more wins. So without any further ado, let's jump in and let's get that visit with Frank Ferrara.
Pre-game like a pro, post-game like a champion at College Bar and Grill. Located across the street from the iconic A Mountain and Sun Devil Stadium and a quick walk from Wells Fargo Arena, College Bar and Grill is your home for the best local craft beer, delicious creative cocktails, tasty food, and Tempe's best atmosphere for Arizona State athletics. College Bar and Grill. Pre-game like a pro, post-game like a champion. Online at ilovecollege.co.
Welcome in to another episode of College Hockey Southwest Weekly. If you've been around this Arizona State program, you know my next guest, Frank Ferrara, is with me. And Frank, first of all, welcome in.
Happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Scott.
How much excitement is happening around this program right now? You got 19 wins. They're poised for a potential tournament bid. We don't want to jinx anything, but you know, I've been giving them a magic number along. I think there's 3 more wins in this last 4 games, and I think they're a lock.
I think 3 will do it for a lock for sure. Yeah, so an incredible amount of excitement as you'd expect. Obviously, still more hockey to be played, and I've always said the most important one that we're going to play in our history is our next one. So
absolutely.
we take them one at a time.
You got to take them one at a time, but when you look at the program as a whole, did you think, are we ahead of schedule, I guess is a better question?
Yeah, you get that question a lot. I think, you know, you look about the tremendous amount of improvement that we've done since last year. It's easy to say, wow, of course we're ahead of schedule from that regard. But that being said, when you look at the talent that we have in the locker room and obviously on the coaching staff, it's hard to look at it, and when you're as close to the program as I am, and really be totally surprised. Right. It really is hard. I get to see them play a lot. I know what they're capable of, and also I remember from last year we lost an awful lot of 1-goal games, and sometimes that's the last thing that a young team learns is how to win those close games. So. Obviously very satisfied, but I can't say I'm completely surprised with their success.
You know, I've talked about this for about a year now, but that win that you witnessed in Vegas seems to be the turning point.
I agree. I think sometimes, you've heard me say it before, one little victory sometimes is all that it takes, and you saw a change in the attitude from that point on. And even the games afterwards that we played Michigan at Yost, very tight, and those are two games that they needed to win badly. And we lost by, I believe it was a goal, and maybe it was 2 goals with an empty netter. So you saw a transformation happen there. We went there and played. There were 3 other very good teams in that tournament, and we came away with the tournament title.
You know, when we look at Arizona State Sun Devil athletics, and you look at the coaching staffs that you guys have put together recently with Ray and yourself and Scotty and everybody up there, I know you guys have looked for certain types of coaches. Right. Tell me about Greg Powers and how he fits that role.
Greg is tremendous, and I've always told at some point this is about more than hockey, right? And Greg is a prime example of that. Obviously, we know we have to build the team on the ice, and we know that that has been occurring, and the best is yet to come. But it's so much more than that. There's a lot that Greg will tell you. It's very important that we are developing leaders, people that are leaders in the classroom. You know, our GPA is well published, 3.45, I believe it was, and I'm sure when you Google our players 5 and 10 years from now, you're going to be happy with what you see. And this is because of their lives are going to be better because a guy like Greg Powers is in it. So it's more than hockey. It's so much more about creating a culture that I believe Greg makes Greg special. And let's not forget Mike Field and Alex Hicks as well.
Absolutely. I had a chance to visit with Alex Hicks last week and talk a little bit about his success. And one of the things that we talked about was, and Coach Powers told me this, is that he feels like everybody now is a Sun Devil. It's hard, like he was a Sun Devil from the start because that's where he went to school. Right. But when you bring in other people, he said it's hard to get everybody on board as a Sun Devil, but he feels like that's the way it is. Is that the way you see the program?
I think we have momentum. You really see that when you travel to the East Coast. It's amazing when I come out and I hear the cheers and I think it's the home team come on the ice and I realize that's our team. I remember that very well when we played at Harvard as well and Princeton. We our alumni traveled well, so everybody is a Sun Devil. And then there's also, they don't get an opportunity to see us the ASU teams back in the Northeast as much as I'm sure they like to. So,
well, I'm doing a series on the seniors. I've been doing one a week, and I've got a couple left to do. And Dylan Holman, and then we're going to end with Anthony Croston next Saturday. And as I talked to them, one of the things that I wanted to talk to them about was the idea of being the tradition and starting something from scratch, and how proud they are of that. And they all, to a man, tell me that they're so proud to have the pitchfork and to say that they started something.
And God, and we're proud of them.
I'm guessing you are.
God knows we're proud of them as well, all of us seniors.
And Coach Powers brought up one thing that I don't think gets mentioned enough. We talked a little bit about the academic side of it, but 4 of these 5 seniors are getting double degrees. I mean, how difficult is that as an NCAA athlete?
Straight A students. They're tremendous. And when you think about the time constraints that are put on a collegiate athlete, and especially a hockey player, right? We know what the demands on their time. The fact that they could succeed is really commendable.
So let's talk a little bit about the potential for an NCAA tournament. I'm sure that when you build a program, that's your goal, right? You want to win an NCAA championship.
You want to win that's always the goal. Correct.
Now you're creeping closer and closer to it. Yes, as a member of the administration, are you guys ready for this?
Telling me. We're more than ready for it. But like I said, we have a tough team that's coming in here, American International. They're gonna, they're near the top of their conference in Atlantic hockey, and we're gonna have to be ready for them, right? And then we have the road trip against Minnesota. So
I've been kind of eyeing this up for a while now, being a Minnesota native like I am. I wanted that series, and I wanted it to mean something, and I think it's going to mean something.
Very, very well might.
So when we look at March 24th and we start talking about Selection
I will be
Sunday, Selection Sunday, March 24th, and we determine who's going into the tournament, how confident are you right now?
Confident, very optimistic. I believe in my team, right? I believe in the coaching staff, and I believe in Greg, and I believe in the team. So you can say I'm confident, but cautiously optimistic for now.
I hear you. I would never let you go without giving you a chance to speak about the obvious arena thing, but we talk about this all the time.
Hey, the boys are doing their job. Our coaching staff is doing their job. Now it's time for us, for the administration, to step up and do their job. This team deserves, and the fan base deserves a spectacular arena for them to play in, so that more than the 900 or so people that come here at Oceanside can enjoy this hockey team.
When we talk about revenue-generating sports, you have basketball playing very well, the football program coming along very well.
We do, right?
Number 3 is probably going to be hockey at some point, right?
Number 3 will most definitely be hockey.
Yeah.
All right, sure. I mean, yeah, it's we've done all the analysis, and that is for sure. That's going to be a certainty.
Yeah. And when I travel around,
and a lot of people in the Pac-12 may not. That might be a surprise to them, but that is something, especially when you have 17 events.
Right.
You see how we packed this place. We're completely sold
Absolutely.
out. Sadly, we have to turn quite a few people away. So with the new arena, that won't be a problem anymore.
And the unfortunate part of that is you have to turn a lot of students away because you just don't have room. And you being the biggest university in the world, basically, it would be nice to be able to pack a couple thousand students in, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more, Scott.
Frank, I appreciate your time as always. Let's hope that we're visiting and we're doing the Selection Sunday show with the Sun Devils popping up there, and not just sneaking in. Let's put them somewhere in the 3 seed or something like that.
That would be fine. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
All right.
Behind the Mask Hockey Shop, celebrating 25 years of exceptional service to the Arizona hockey community, offering the top brands and an educated staff of hockey players to help you choose the right gear for you. Visit any one of our 3 Valley locations or check us out online at behindthemask.com.
All right, folks, we're back. Had a great visit with Frank Ferrara. I hope you all enjoy it. I also had a chance to visit with Jacob Wilson. So in a minute, we're going to bring Jacob in here. We're going to talk a little ASU defensive hockey and talk a little bit about the season and how things have gone for him, being one of the top defensemen on this squad. So without further ado, let's jump in and visit with Jacob Wilson, Arizona State Sun Devil defenseman. Another edition of College Hockey Southwest Weekly. I got a defenseman with me. I've got Jacob Wilson with me. And Jacob, first of all, let's talk a little bit about the success. What's going on with the Sun Devil hockey team and moving up the ranks?
Just playing good hockey right now. Everybody's chipping in, so it's a lot of fun.
When you came to ASU, I know you had a vision of wanting to win a national championship. Did you think it was going to be in the sights quite this soon?
I mean, obviously you want it to happen.
Yeah.
For me and for the team, I think we just kind of were taking it one step at a time. We weren't looking too far ahead, and some things started to fall in place, and we just kept getting better. So it's awesome. We really enjoy it.
A lot of people looked at your schedule in July and they said, "Oh my God, you guys got the hardest schedule in college hockey. How are you going to fare?" You guys took it one game at a time. You started off with Alaska. You got Ohio State in here. Was that an eye-opener for you guys to realize that, hey, we can play with these guys and we can beat these guys?
Yeah. Especially I think the Ohio State weekend, we weren't really too happy with those 2 losses, but we knew that we could have beat those guys, but we just didn't play our best.
What happens to a team that right now goes in the building process? You saw it your first year here, and then all of a sudden there's a transformation. Can you pinpoint on what that transformation was, or was it just something that happened?
I just think it's a desire and having the right pieces.
Right.
Everybody putting in the work, everybody coming to the rink ready and wanting to win and to play for each other. It's a culture that you build. Talk
about the differences between the success that you had at the junior level and prior to juniors, and now all of a sudden to experience that at NCAA level. Are things ratcheted up, or do you guys feel like it's still the same type of thing? It's still hockey when it comes right down to it.
Oh, it's still hockey. I mean, it's exciting this time of the year. And juniors are playing for a playoff spot, and you live for that playoff hockey. And right now, we put ourselves in a good position to be playing for a spot. So, it's something to play for.
When you get into the NCAA tournament, it becomes a one and done, right? I mean,
yeah.
If you guys get to that point and you play a regional, it's like, we lose tonight, our season's over with. Completely different mentality from what you're going through now when it's like 2-game series here and there.
I mean, we're not even in that mentality right now. We're just focused on AIC next weekend and just, the whole mentality the entire year has been 1 game at a time. So no different when you get to the tournament, I guess.
So let's talk about mentality. You've got a roommate and a friend of yours, Johnny Walker, that's having a successful season, and you guys having a team. What's it like to live with him? I mean, you got to keep popping his balloon every now and then, or is he okay?
No, you definitely got to deflate him every once in a while, but I'm happy to see the success he's having, and he's really helping our team out a lot. So.
You know, and I call you the unsung hero because you got to play defense, right? And defense doesn't get a lot of accolades unless people start talking about you as soon as you make a mistake, right?
Yeah.
But nobody says, hey, Jacob Wilson made a great pass that set up that play, not very often. What's it like with that mentality?
I don't really look for credit or anything like that here and there. As long as I'm helping the team win and playing my game and we're playing good hockey, I'm happy.
Coach Powers told me when he built this program, he wanted to build it big and strong early. He told me 3 words: big, strong, and old. Now all of a sudden you guys are transitioned a little bit, but you're still big and strong, at least on the defensive end, where you guys like to play the body, don't you?
Yeah. I think that's a big key component of our team is how aggressive we are and physical. So I think that's going to help moving forward.
You know, when I look at the losses that you guys have suffered this year, and you look at them and go like, nobody's really beaten you. Sometimes you guys have had just like a mental lapse or have had a bad bounce. I know just recently, and you guys had some bad bounces up at Boston U.
Yeah.
Games that you should have won. How do you rebound for those? How do you guys reset and just come back out the next game?
I think it's just kind of realizing it's hockey. Like,
Yeah.
Stuff like that's gonna happen. You just got to keep moving forward. It happens to the pros all the time, and it's gonna keep happening. So just to keep your mind right and to keep focused on what you need to do to prepare for each and every game.
All right, so we got 4 games left. We got the senior weekend coming up. I know that means a lot to those guys and to you guys. But you also then go on to Minnesota. You get to play on an Olympic ice sheet. Are you looking forward to that big ice sheet?
Personally, no. I don't like the Olympic sheets. A little more ice to cover. But no, it'll be exciting to get up there and get in that atmosphere.
So as a defensive guy, you prefer a smaller rink. But I'm guessing when you look at some of your speedy forwards, you're going like, guys that can do some damage.
It's a good trade-off. So yeah, I think we'll be good.
All right, Jacob. I appreciate your time and good luck next weekend. Good luck again against Minnesota, and let's see if we can get in that NCAA tournament.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, man. All right, folks, we're back to wrap things up here on another edition of College Hockey Southwest Weekly. Had a chance to visit with 2 great guests, Frank Ferrara, Senior Administrator with Sun Devil Athletics. We also had a chance to visit with defenseman Jacob Wilson, talk a little hockey with him, and specifically Arizona State hockey. Hope you enjoyed those interviews. Also want to thank my co-host Tom Callahan, who is up on assignment right now for us up in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle, Washington, doing a little work for himself and us, and appreciate all the work that Tom brings us. We'll look forward to seeing him back here next week, as the Arizona State Sun Devils next weekend will host AIC in their final home series here at Oceanside for the 2018-19 regular season. And then they'll have a bye week, and then they'll travel to Minnesota, the University of Minnesota Golden Gophers at Mariucci Arena. And from that point, folks, we'll just be sitting back and hoping that this team has done enough to get themselves into the NCAA hockey tournament. So that's it from this week from our beautiful Oceanside Ice Arena locker room, and another edition of College Hockey Southwest Weekly. Thanks for joining us, and stay tuned for more great stuff at IceTimeHockeySW.com, and of course our next episode here of College Hockey Southwest Weekly next week.